Well, very clearly we are a provider of premium cars and premium services, and we are massively affected by big changes at the moment which are occurring around us, which add up to one another and which also overlap. One is obviously climate change and the need to find answers with less CO2 emitting vehicles, with technological innovation, with new drivetrains. On the other hand, what we see is that societies expect conceptual answers to the big stress factor, which is congestion in cities. The vast majority of our customers lives in cities. So the question is, how will a sustainable transport system look like? And again here, not only industry, but namely also the decision makers in city governments play a significant role, as do national legislators and regional legislators like the EU, like the US, China. So, and thirdly, what we see is the vast opportunities that is generated by additional connectivity options, by the digital infrastructure which will enable us to do things completely different from what we are doing today. So the engagement of BMW in car sharing, for example, is just the first step in that direction, to rethink the way cars are used, marketed, sold, leased, shared. Well, very clearly we have to approach this topic comprehensively. So we have to think from what do our customers want. We have started listening to people living in urban environments back in 2005, 2006. This has been flowing into what we call strategy number one, which was, if you like, the umbrella for the development, namely of our electric vehicles, the BMW i3 and the BMW i8. These are now complemented by additional plug-in hybrid vehicles, 3 Series, 7 Series, 5 Series, which will come. The next one will be the X5 car. So we will offer a breadth of different levels of electrification, from radical concepts which are defined by the electric drivetrains to highly efficient conventional cars, because what we see very clearly is things change at very different speeds globally. We do not have one unique scenario. Even within China or within the United States, you have places which are frontrunners and others who move at a much slower pace. The same applies for Europe. So we will have to be able for a very long time to offer a breadth of different options, not only in terms of hardware, but also in terms of the services around it. So it's places like London, like Paris, many cities in the United States where we seek to pioneer also alternatives to owning a car, where we have been ramping up our car sharing system, Drive Now, which we operate with Sixt, which now has 460,000 members who already contribute considerably to moving around in new, highly efficient, many of them electric cars, instead of owning an older, used, higher emitting car, which is not state of the art anymore. We have, institutionally speaking, a direct responsibility within the board for the definition of our sustainability strategy, which is anchored within our value chain. So it starts obviously with technology development for our products, which is the core of what we do in terms of sustainability. It means developing not only new drivetrains, but also completely new vehicle architectures. We have been pioneering the use of large-scale carbon fiber reinforced plastic as an alternative to steel and aluminum. For example, reducing by that the weight of the i3, for example, by more than 200 kilograms. So this is the stage one, if you like. In terms of production, we have been now reaching a level in 2014 already where more than half of our energy was generated from renewable sources. So we also seek to reduce the climate impact of our production significantly. We work very closely with our partners in the supply chain. So ranging from the guaranteeing of basic human rights to obviously a proper handling of raw materials, and also with view to energy efficiency. We have a close relationship with those who supply the components for our vehicles, not only in Europe, but the world over. I mean, very clearly the automotive industry is a big part of the challenge, but also of the solution to climate change. Transport is responsible for a significant part of overall emissions, and also perception-wise, we are in the focus, whether we like it or not. So very clearly we have to demonstrate what we can contribute to solving the issues at hand. And BMW has been part of all the climate conferences over the last year, so we have a track record of continuous presence in this format in order to share our view of things with stakeholders, but namely also to listen to what we get as an input from society. We don't do this just at the big events, obviously, but in the run-up to Paris, we are holding 4 different stakeholder workshops in different regions of the world in order to get the full input from stakeholders into our strategic planning. Because we think that, given the fact that we have a global challenge, a stakeholder discussion format which is global by its nature, which involves players from a very big breadth of different countries and sectors, which thereby gives us the maximum opportunity to get a full picture of expectations from society, as well as input and proposals and concepts from industry, from business. For us is a big opportunity, and this is why we look forward to that. Well, also as an industry, we are used to seeing national governments, but also regional bodies like the European Commission as the main regulator. And this applies obviously for things like CO2 emissions, fuel efficiency, abatement of harmful substances. This is also where we need clear frameworks which apply for a whole market. But on the other hand, if you look at really new concepts, if you look at car sharing, if you look at charging infrastructure, if you look at sophisticated ways of managing transport, what we see is that the responsibility of city governments has been growing tremendously. So for us, this is a big challenge, because in dealing with these players, we as an industry do not have the routines. So in many places, we are now canvassing city governments from China to the United States to Europe in order to discuss the best framework conditions, as what these people decide impacts the use case for our customers. So if a customer sees electric mobility as a suitable alternative to a conventional vehicle or not, if whether he decides to give away his, let's say, 12-year-old used car and to do car sharing instead, is only very partially defined by national governments. It is mayors and city administrations who really decide whether this is a good proposition or not. And we will have to deal with that, whether it's Paris or any other big place where we are operating.